Sign language. Okay, well, welcome everyone. It's John again, and we're with the Sunflower Group, and we're on our last sensory walk. This is number 7. Not necessarily the last one altogether, but the last one of the project, the climate project that we've been doing. And we've been kindly sponsored by Let's Get Connected, and today we've got Jack with us again. Say hello, Jack.
Hello, everyone.
And we've got Mika from Find Your Active again.
Hi.
So they've become fans of our project.
Yeah.
We've got Linda and our crew, and we've even got Mr. Nick. Mr. Nick Robinson.
He's a Robbo.
Mr. Fantastic, we'll call you, Nick.
He's a Robbo.
I don't know quite how to introduce you. What shall I say about you?
Mr. Fantastic will do.
Right,
It's
thank you
quite
very much. So we're going to. I don't want any trouble off you today, Ian. All right? No, behave yourself. And you, Emma.
I'll try, but I can't promise.
All right. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to go around the end there. So we'll move off now, so Ray can get this on there. So Ray, film us going on. Okay, right. Well, we're at the Queen Elizabeth Hunting Lodge on Epping Forest, and the lodge is just back there, as you can see. It's got 3 floors, and the lodge was originally built, I think, 1543 by Henry VIII. Although it's not certain that he actually came here. It was rebuilt or extended by Queen Elizabeth I when she began to reign. And she was a very keen hunter, so she loved coming out. And the plain behind us is where they used to hunt the deer. So they would gather the deer up with dogs and so on, and then herd them along, chase them, and then they would have the archers and whatever ready to, have their sport with them. So that's the kind of story of the lodge and why it's here. And it's a beautiful listed building. It's got a little bit of a museum inside, and we've got the museum on the side there as well, this other building. So we're going to hopefully have a look around these 2 places today, followed by a nice lunch at the Premier Inn next door. It is the Premier Inn, isn't it?
No.
It's not the Premier Inn. I always call it the Premier Inn.
No, but it's
Brewers Fair.
Brewers Fair.
The Brewers Fair. Right.
And we're advertising it, so we're going to put in for a sponsor.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah.
Or just
So,
I think we should.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the plane there, in the older days, I guess that hedge wouldn't have been there. So from the top, if you go upstairs in the lodge and you look right across, you can see the whole plane. And I think in the past it's been used for various sort of games and activities. But in those days, in Henry VIII's days and Elizabeth's days, that's
Just their games.
hunting was a big sport. And so the deer, let's say, would chase.
Henry was a big hunter, though, wasn't he?
He was, and he did come to Epping Forest. He came
But he was
from Abbey.
Was it Hatfield Forest that he used to hunt in?
I'm not sure about Hatfield Forest. I mean, in those days, it was all joined up, isn't it?
Most probably, yeah. Of course.
Yeah, the forests all merged together.
Yeah.
So it was much bigger than it is now. Right. I'm just going to point out the pond over there to you. That's been, oh, I know. I think it's a natural pond. So there's always some water, and even in the drought, like now, it's higher normally, but still a fair bit of water, plenty of weeds. So what's the point of a nice pond like that in the middle of the forest? Anybody? Animals? Wildlife? Yeah. Ducks, geese, all sorts of things can land on that pond. Plenty of things like dragonflies and so on. Lots of little wildlife. So it's a natural place for little insects, animals to live and drink as well for the deer. So good to have these little ponds dotted around, especially on hot days like this when, the grass is dry and there's not much refreshments for deer and so on. So the pond becomes a great place. And I don't know if, would you say it's a natural well, Ray? That, because you were talking about the wells here, weren't you? And
It's hard to say because sometimes you had bomb craters at
yeah,
ponds as well. So it could be, yeah.
yeah. But just a nice thing to see in the forest. Okay, so we'll amble on a bit further.
Gardens and
Yeah.
they're penned in a bit with electric fences
Yeah.
now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a nice oak tree here. And what's the fruit of an oak tree called?
What is on
Who knows?
the oak tree?
What do they have?
Acorns.
Acorns. Yeah. And this one's got quite a few on it, which is actually a bit surprising since we've had a drought. So, you know, this is filled up quite nicely, this acorn here. You probably can't see it very well, but it's quite a lovely acorn. And there's others on there as well. And also, there's a nice, from the gall wasp, there's the gallstone type thing there on the back of the leaf. So, can you see that, Ray? There. Yeah. Do you remember what causes this? Probably you can't see it too good, but it's underneath the leaf. There's a big round, looks like a fruit, but it's not. It's caused by an insect burrowing into the leaf and laying its eggs. And it's a gall wasp. Yeah. And that will hatch out in the autumn, or whenever it is, it hatches out, and the wasp will emerge. Okay. You tell me about oak trees, guys.
They're very old.
Yeah. What sort of age can an oak tree live to?
Hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah, hundreds of years. Yeah.
Don't
In the
like in the drought though, John. Would it affect them badly?
well, surprisingly, the oaks look pretty good, don't they? I think their roots go deep down,
That's right. Yeah.
and they manage to extract the water and minerals that they need from, you know, well below the earth.
Near where Ian is, all the leaves are falling. It's like, you know, it's October time. The whole place is smothered in leaves.
You'll get that. You get a premature fall when there's a hot spell like this, and it's the tree's way of surviving actually, because it sheds its leaves because the leaves are taking energy and water, and so it does an early shedding, if you like, an autumn shedding, and that will get it through the winter and into next year, and in the spring hopefully it will
Sure, are they?
grow back again. Yeah. So it's really doing its best. It's lack of water, although we've had a couple of good rainfalls recently, so it's better. But yeah. And in the forest, you know, we've got the oaks that can live up to 1,000 years. So it's lovely to see them. And you know, Epping Forest there are thousands of oak trees.
How old is Epping Forest?
Well, it would date back to the Ice Age, because you know, from the Ice Age onwards, when the climate started to change again, which is what, 10,000 years ago, isn't it? I mean, I don't think anyone knows the true age because we don't have history that goes back that far. All we've got is geographical data. And so we can see that as, you know, as climate changes, then the forests start to grow, and, you know, they get bigger and bigger. And if they're untouched and left to their own, they'll create their own environment, which is why it's good for the planet and why climate is so important, because the trees naturally create an atmosphere above them. If there's enough of them, I think I told you that in the Amazon, they've got their own atmosphere because they let off such a lot of condensation and evaporation. They create clouds over them. And you'll find that in tropical rainforests as well.
That's why they have a lot of rain then, because they've got their own climate.
Yeah, they've got that's exactly right, Linda. They build their own climate. And in a way, we are also doing the same. You know, we're creating a climate with what we've got here, but because we're building so many roads and houses and so on, the forest is shrinking, although it's protected now, but this forest used to extend right across Essex.
Mm.
So obviously we've cut down lots for shipbuilding, house building, firewood, and so on. So a lot of changes like that. But yeah, agriculture, yeah, people have wanted to grow crops and so on, so they cut down the forest. So yeah, it's interesting. Good. Try and get just a nice shot of the tree, Ray. Yeah, look at this now.
Wow.
There's crack in the earth all the way down there.
Yeah.
It's going right down. And that's getting on about 12 inches deep, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's 12 inches in meters. Half a meter, quarter of a meter. Something of that nature. But yeah, look.
Will that go further down as if it continued to be?
It would, yeah.
Wow.
Because the soil is clay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I
it's
know that.
nothing clay
Yes.
around here.
Yes. You're
So
right.
it doesn't retain moisture.
No.
It does in the winter because it gets
Yeah.
like mud.
Yes.
And then in the summer it cracks up like this and dries out. So it's not very good for...
if it continues, it will continue to make that deeper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if it really dried up and we didn't have any wet rain for a year, that would open up.
Yeah.
You know. So,
Wow.
so I didn't expect to see that yet.
No.
Surprising, but
Not at all.
yeah, and it's only on the path
Yeah.
because I think the grass has managed to bind it and retain some sort of moisture around it.
That's where people have been
But where it's
walking,
been walking,
all the
it's,
grass away.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's dried up quicker.
I see. Okay.
Opened up
Where
that
they?
crack.
Okay. The little
Yeah.
pathway. Right.
And you can see, look, in amongst this, look, this pebble.
And that's is it?
It's a rounded pebble. It's been under the sea
Oh. How do you know that though?
because of the shape, because of the
Ah.
the smooth edges on it.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was this was originally underwater many years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there's another one. Look.
So all the smooth ones have been.
Yeah, that's a pebble. It's
Yeah.
been smooth. It
Smooth
gets
by the
smooth because
sea.
it's been the waves has rounded it off, and
Yeah.
constantly. But you find them on the beach all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's you see that, Ray? See the pebble from many years ago,
Wow.
and they're little because they're kind of retaining the moisture. Big leaves lose a lot of moisture.
Sure.
Small leaves like this, and that will survive really hot weathers and cold weathers, and you'll find them on top of mountains and everywhere. So this is the hawthorn because of its thorns.
Yeah.
And in the springtime it'll have the berries on it as well. And also alongside us, look, we've got these grasses which are really covering a big area here, and they've gone to seed, which is another thing that climate causes. Hot weather will make plants go to seed quickly. So I don't know if you grow any runner beans or anything like that, but they're already been trying to go to seed for the last month or so. Instead of staying on and developing lots of nice fruits, they're actually seeding because in case the grass dies, it wants to seed. So the seeds come up next year as new plants. This is a particularly lovely one. I don't know what this grass is called, but it's got a lovely ferny effect across there.
Brilliant.
Good for wildflowers and
That's what
wild
I am
plants.
doing. I've got
Yeah.
loads of wildflowers. Some of them have got
Yeah.
such brilliant names as well. I'll show you my selection.
You can make your own
Well,
collection on it, can't you?
yeah. Um, I do pen and ink drawings. So
do you?
I'm gonna paint some of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. And moths and things as well.
Yeah. Ray, come here. Get a shot of this. This film with it. If you come over my shoulder and see if you can get. Now the sun's out. It's good. You can see the different plants on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is this great app called
Yeah.
Seek, which is through iNaturalist. It's free, and you just take photos of things and identify wildflowers well, everything that you want to. Yeah.
And you've got the gore wasp collection,
Yes.
the one I was just talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is, Jack, you've probably seen it in your position.
I did speak
Yes.
to one
But
lady.
when it comes to funding, a lot of the groups, the special needs groups, the country care type people, you know,
They're nervous.
people who are working in the countryside trying to protect the land for the benefit of everyone, are very underfunded.
Yes.
To oversee it.
And they struggle to do what they have to do.
And I think the fact
And they
that-
rely
I know
considerably
not
on
everyone
volunteers.
fit
Yes.
and able
And if it wasn't for, you know, good people volunteering,
something
these things would never get done.
No, they wouldn't be able to operate.
Yeah.
I think, and it's also the planning, because you need to have a plan. And if your funding is insecure, it's quite hard to plan.
Yeah.
Because you're just working from, you know, year to year,
Yeah.
rather than having a longer plan.
That's right. These short-term plans are good, but
Yeah.
then when you get something up and running, and the next minute it's gone again,
Yeah,
which is a terrible shame.
Yeah.
I think, you know, council should be looking at that. Authorities, you know, they really need to broaden their minds and think more constructively,
Yes.
because it's so important for the health and well-being, the mental health for people,
Yeah.
just young people, old people, everyone.
Yeah. And also a lot of councils have 10-year plans, so really they should fund people for the length of
But
their
then
plans.
I always think you have to look at the individual.
Which would make a big difference
My
to
client-
small
Yeah.
organisations, I think.
Because I suppose most plans that you might be working on might be for 12 months or something,
Yeah.
Manage them
and then they come to an end.
Yes.
That's all of the good work that's been built up, the continuity,
Yeah.
is lost.
Yes. And all the lessons you learn
Yeah,
disappear into the ether, don't they? So,
yeah,
and then the cycle starts again. So it would be really nice to have a longer term
yeah.
where you could actually build on what you've learned.
Yeah, it's very dispiriting, isn't it? Because
Yes.
I think I've seen, you know, several people who run organisations. I mean, the youth clubs,
Yeah.
they vanished.
Yeah, like I've
Yeah.
like
You know, and that's up to volunteers to do things with them.
Yeah.
we made
Government needs to really look at core funding and how it should support
But the
people
thing is,
Yeah.
in these positions.
Yes.
they
Particularly in this new initiative where they're trying to level things up, they really need to take it down.
And if you-
that kind of grassroots level.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So,
Yeah. It's often forgotten because it doesn't seem important. It doesn't necessarily make much money,
yeah.
sees it that way
so people
because it's
ignore
like,
it,
Yeah.
They
or maybe throw in a little gesture of goodwill every now and then, and
where
that's
they
a
want
lot.
to go. So they like
Yeah.
Mm.
church.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.